alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price. 2-minute drill on this Monday. Coach Heupel talking development on this Monday. I mean, I've asked several times about guys like Cedric Tillman, and made it pretty clear, when guys hang in there and you kind of get what you put in. And Cedric Tillman's a guy that puts a lot in.
Yeah, he is. And I think there's some other guys we're probably not seeing that you can put into that category that there's hopes for moving forward. And people have asked a guy like Bryson Eason and some of these other guys that have battled some various, injuries and that type of thing, where they at. I don't think that there's a cast off of some of these guys. And it's interesting, you and I are having this discussion before the press conference today. There's some guys who are focal points of this team this year, Austin,
that were not
even in our zip code last year. And that's what the beauty of college athletics is for those guys who are willing to stay committed and be around and continue the development path.
Well, again, it's he said it multiple times. You get back what you put in, and certain guys are putting a lot in, and they're starting to get a lot back. Chance to go to a bowl game if they win this week. I mean, everybody expects Tennessee to win these next two and get to 7-5. But got to keep the pedal down and stay focused.
Well, and I think that's the one thing about this team that you like is that for all the talk in the first month of the season about the last 48 hours and whatever that mantra was from Josh Heupel, this is a team that's shown up and has been. They've not had one of those just games. Now, they've been beaten by some teams. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they were beaten handily by Georgia. But they haven't had that dog game. Can this team avoid that? Can they show up as a heavy favorite and do what they've done all season long? And that's been really good out of the gates.
Yeah, and take care of business against opponents you're supposed to take care of business against. And you're right, Tennessee's not had that kind of lull game where they are in a 4-quarter fight and they somehow win it, but they shouldn't have been even in the game with said team.
Now the question I got for you is, how does Tennessee manage a couple of key injuries? What does that wide receiver group look like if Javonte Payton can't go? How do they handle the linebacker situation if Aaron Beasley's really in some doubt with that ankle this weekend?
Well, he talked about guys like Aaron Willis stepping up and needing to get more and more playing time. One would think that he's going to get more playing time over the next 2 weeks just based off the fact that they're not playing high-end SEC opponents. You're playing South Alabama and Vanderbilt. So some of these younger players need to see some more run. But then you got some guys like a Jimmy Callaway. He's played in 3 games. Does it benefit you to play the last 2 when you can play just a bowl game and redshirt? People still do redshirt, and I think Tennessee's planning on doing that with a couple of guys.
Yeah, and again, this is the linebacker position. Brian Jean-Marie said, "Hey, I don't really have the trust. I've got to get more trust in those guys." Sometimes you get thrown into that, and maybe Aaron Willis gets thrown into that fire this weekend, and that forces them to earn some trust in him.
Correct, and again, you're playing South Alabama, Vanderbilt, so the trust level is not nearly as high for the opponents you're going to play the next 2 weeks as it would have been if you were playing Ole Miss or Georgia or Alabama.
That's a good point.
Like Tennessee has the last few weeks. He's Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the 2-minute drill.